Hi, my name is Tim Lloyd, and this presentation is about why publishers need independent identity and access management solutions to help them drive innovation and growth, and how traditional approaches to access management hold publishers back. I'd like to start by defining what I mean by identity and access management. You'll see references to IAM in many of my slides. This is a common acronym for Identity and Access Management. Identity management is essentially answering the question, who are you? Using authentication methods such as username and password, IP ranges, and single sign-on technologies like Shibboleth and OpenAthens. Access management is answering the question, what do you have rights to access? Using authorization logic tailored to your business models, such as validating online purchases or confirming subscription start and end dates. Identity and access management has never been more critical for innovation and growth in publishing. As it's often an overlooked piece of publishing infrastructure, I'm going to start by briefly reviewing 5 key reasons why it's so critical. Identity and access systems enable sales to new customer types by providing support for the necessary authentication methods. A common strategy for business growth is to repurpose content for new markets, but managing access to online resources across individuals, educational institutions, corporates, public libraries can require a bewildering array of technologies. Identity and access systems enable product and pricing innovation by providing support for alternative authorization logic. Another strategy for business growth is to grow markets by offering new business models. While subscriptions are a common model used, other models such as metered access, concurrent access, vouchers, and patron-driven acquisition can successfully enable publishers to build new revenue streams. Identity and access systems can promote usage and renewals by minimizing access friction. By access friction, I mean the effort invested by users to authenticate and authorize access to your resources. The greater the friction, the more likely users are to seek simpler alternatives like Google. Research shows that users will often seek the lowest common denominator in the information food chain if it's quicker and easier to access. Another technique for minimizing access friction is to support a wider range of access scenarios, so users can choose authentication methods that fit their workflow. For example, by accepting commonly used individual authentication methods that users may already be using, such as single sign-on technologies like Shibboleth, OpenAthens, and social logins. Identity and access systems determine how easy it is to integrate new acquisitions into existing access workflows. Delivering a consistent access experience to users and seamless and low-friction access across products can help publishers drive tangible benefits from new product acquisitions, whether they're looking to drive cost efficiencies or cross-sell users to other relevant resources. In contrast, leaving new acquisitions in legacy identity and access systems can create an archipelago of access scenarios for users that hold back usage and limit their value. Finally, identity and access systems help publishers understand user needs by capturing valuable access and usage data in a central data repository. Analysis of this data can reveal user preferences that can be used to drive dynamic interfaces and offer a more personalized and engaging experience to users. But most institutional users access online publications anonymously, leaving a huge gap in our knowledge of their needs and making it difficult and more expensive to develop new products and services and maximize the value of existing ones. As your consumer service cousins have realized, users are willing to give up some privacy in return for more value. The bottom line is that this data is hugely valuable and you need secure and easy access to it. Another important trend in publishing is the splintering of online distribution channels. It used to be the case that publishers could rely on one or two key channels, but the increasing growth in online opportunities is accompanied by increasing complexity that can cause significant challenges for legacy, identity, and access management systems. Let's explore why. One publishing platform can no longer meet all needs in this more complex ecosystem. For example, different content types require very different publishing technologies. Think of streaming audio and video versus textual content. Similarly, different audience types often require dedicated publishing platforms and associated workflows, such as editorial systems for authors versus member services versus professional development webinars. Helpfully, an increasing range of open source, in-house, and vendor technology solutions allow publishers to select a mixture of publishing platforms that best meet their particular needs. As a result, identity and access management needs to be unified and independent of the markets and customer types addressed, the business and pricing models adopted, and the technologies, platforms, and vendors selected. It needs to work across this increasingly complex publishing infrastructure to build a central data repository of access and usage data. So why do we need a new solution to address these challenges? Let's look at in-house solutions first, as many publishers build and maintain their own access systems. The challenge here is simply one of mission and opportunity cost. Our mission as publishers is to publish valuable, engaging content, and anything that distracts from that mission is a lower priority. As a result, in-house access systems often begin life by offering the bare minimum needed by users in order to get the implementation out the door quickly, and then they degrade over time as IT resources tend to focus on mission-critical tasks such as content and features. These legacy solutions work satisfactorily enough in stable, steadily growing markets with consistent requirements, but that's not the world we live in anymore. The lack of ongoing investment makes future enhancements costly. Their technical architecture typically wasn't designed for future needs, including the need to capture valuable access and usage data. The backlog of fixes awaiting prioritization builds up, and internal developers become less and less familiar with the codebase, further increasing support costs, especially if they leave the organization. In summary, these in-house systems struggle to support the increasing complexity and can soak up expensive internal resources. An alternative is to outsource identity and access management to an external vendor, but our experience is that traditional vendor solutions are monolithic, inflexible, and expensive. Let's explore why. Many publishers rely on access solutions baked into the vendor platforms that they use for publishing, many of which may adequately meet their needs in that area. The problem is that the increasingly complex publishing ecosystem means you're likely to need multiple publishing channels. These baked-in solutions are designed to do one job well and can't effectively unify identity and access management across multiple technologies, platforms, and vendors. So what about dedicated vendor solutions? Well, unfortunately, the almost universal feedback we hear from publishers is that they're inflexible and expensive to integrate and enhance. Why? Well, a major reason is likely to be their traditional technical architecture. Traditional software development occurs in stages, with new code layered onto the old like varnish. It's like taking a 3-bedroom house and turning it into a mansion. It can get ugly inside, and eventually the maintenance costs become consuming. In software terms, application performance degrades, and it's expensive for the vendor to add new features and for you to integrate them. LibLinks offers an independent alternative, a true unifying identity and access management solution that is technology and vendor agnostic and works through an API that can be understood in minutes. This has huge implications. Publishers can pick and choose the platforms and technologies that best fit each publishing use case, and then use LibLinks to unify management and deliver a consistent access experience for users. This independence also delivers the agility publishers need to be innovative. When a visitor requests access to a control resource, you simply call our API, and we plug in whatever authentication methods and authorization logic you need. Supporting new customer types and business or pricing models becomes a simple configuration option. We do all the hard work. Lowering the barrier to product and service innovation not only makes smaller opportunities commercially viable, it also makes it easier and quicker to learn. You need an agile platform in order to cost-effectively experiment with new ideas for products and services. This new agility also frees up your valuable IT resources to focus on delivering user-facing content and features. Finally, an independent access solution can deliver significant value. Modern cloud-native architectures lower our cost of doing business, allowing us to adopt usage-based pricing that delivers a highly featured solution to you at a fraction of the cost of building in-house or using traditional vendors. You only pay for what you eat. Low-volume use cases become viable, and volume discounts ensure pricing scales affordably. And as our fees scale with your publishing operations, we're jointly vested in your success. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to learn more about LibLinks Connect, our secure cloud-native identity access management solution, please visit www.liblinks.com or email me, Tim Lloyd, at info@liblinks.com.